Coming to my first question. In a world that is becoming increasingly polarized, it would be interesting to examine the role of dissent and diversity in democracy. Justice Chandrachud, you have earlier opined that dissent is the safety valve of our democracy. Could you elaborate on the role of judicial and individual dissent in democracy, and also touch upon the differences between the US, where judges more frequently give dissenting opinions, and India?
Thanks, Maithili. There are two parts to your question, and I'll deal with both of them independently in a couple of minutes. To answer the first part of your question, I'd like to really emphasize what I said in my dissent in the Romila Thapar case in 2018, which is that individuals who assert causes which may be unpopular to the echelons of power are yet entitled to the freedoms which are guaranteed by the Constitution. Dissent is a symbol of a vibrant democracy, and voices in opposition cannot be muzzled by persecuting those who take up unpopular causes. That's what I said. Now, nowadays, whenever you really take up the right of individuals to dissent in a democracy, our discussion inevitably gets caught up in the means and the method of expressing the dissenting opinion. However, we tend to forget the core premise of that discussion, that while we may all disagree on how to express our dissent, there is an agreement implicit in our constitutional framework which acknowledges the importance of dissent. Therefore, as a form of government, any democracy must accept that there will always be those who disagree with the views of others and will express their disagreement. The expression of dissenting opinion must not be seen as a hindrance to policy, but rather as its criticism from which one can learn to make better and more well-informed decisions. So that in any democracy, dissent by individuals offers a much required breath of fresh air, a sort of a counterweight, so that the rights and interests of everyone, including those on the margins, are taken care of. So as a constitutional goal, there are not many more which can be put on a higher pedestal. But when we talk of judicial dissent, which is the second part of your question, there's a slightly different consideration at play. Judicial dissent, unlike individual dissent, does not often arise from a difference in one's political viewpoint from the majority. Rather, the basis of most judicial dissent is disagreement in an interpretation of law between different judges. So in many ways, judicial dissent can be a cause of simple intellectual disagreement as opposed to individual dissent about ground realities or political realities. However, the value which is ascribed to judicial dissent is also often tied to the nature of the case where it occurs and the larger socio-political issues in any society surrounding the case. So therefore, even a judicial dissent in some cases no longer remains an intellectual disagreement on the interpretation of law, but it's a disagreement about the most fundamental principles of the Constitution and our democracy, and how we envision as judges our society going forward should take us. Now, coming to the second part of your question about the US and India, I think it's very important at the outset to notice two crucial differences between the United States and India. First, the Indian Supreme Court is a polyvocal court, unlike the American Supreme Court. So we sit in multiple benches of 2 judges, 3 judges, 5 judges, 7, 9, and in some cases it's been also 13. The American Supreme Court sits en banc as one court of 9 judges. Second, the Indian Supreme Court does not limit itself only to questions of constitutional importance or significance, but we are also a final court of appeal. So we are both a constitutional court and an appellate court, whereas the US Supreme Court deals essentially with only constitutional cases. Now, these two are very significant as a factor in the extent of dissent that we see in the US Supreme Court and in the Indian Supreme Court. The US Supreme Court often ends up adjudicating only those cases which have strong ramifications for constitutional democracy, in which 2 justices are more likely to disagree. Our Supreme Court, on the other hand, does a lot of regular work where the extent of disagreement may therefore not be as pronounced as, say, in the US Supreme Court, particularly in your regular or routine appellate work. But having said that, let me substantiate my argument by saying, with referring to my own judicial career, I've been on the bench of the Supreme Court for 4 years, and I have delivered dissents in 7 very crucial constitutional cases. One was, on the entry of women of a menstruating age into temples, into a particular Hindu temple, which was the Sabrimala temple, where I struck down that restriction as being fundamentally violative of constitutional values. Then I delivered a dissent in the Government of India's biometric program for all citizens. The majority upheld the program, and I was of the view that the program was unconstitutional. Then there have been dissents in several other cases, including on whether you can have video conferencing in family matters. My colleagues felt that you can't have video conferencing in family matters of mediation. And I felt that, well, that's very anachronistic not to have video conferencing when you have one spouse in Silicon Valley in California and another spouse in Bangalore. How do they connect except on the video link? But what I want to, I conclude with this really. If one looks at the nature of the cases where you have had dissents in India, it's not hard to see that dissents have arisen in the crucial cases which affect constitutional democracy, the rule of law as we judges envision it. And I think the power of judicial dissent is extraordinarily important. Unlike the civil law tradition, where all judges speak with one voice, in the common law tradition which we follow, I think the heart of judging, the core of judging, is that it's an expression of yourself. I think if you really ask me what what I've learned in the last 20 years, is that it's a form of self-expression about what you consider to be a just society for the future. So when a judge dissents, you're giving expression to some fundamental values of the Constitution which are embodied in your heart. And I believe if you don't have judicial dissents, then, the judge's craft would not really be true to its own conscience. So that really broadly sums up what I would like to say to your question.